You know what's really fun, ladies and gents? This! Well, luckily for us, there's a game series called Mega Man where you can do just that. However, most of these bosses have specific weaknesses that take them out near instantly. But I don't need weaknesses anymore. I'm not a Mega Boy anymore. I'm a Mega Man. I have a college degree, okay? I do not need boss weaknesses. So we're gonna go through the first 3 games. The first 3 because they added the Charge Shot in 4, which made doing Buster Only much easier. And we're gonna fight all the Robot Masters, and we're gonna see which ones give me the hardest time. And maybe learn to appreciate their fights a bit more, since, again, most people usually just skip them. So with all that out of the way, remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy the video. Maybe comment your favorite Robot Master. Mine's Cutman. So let's cut straight to the point, move the children, put the games in the NES with the poorly aged completionist sticker, and let's get started. So we're going to start off with all the bosses that defeated me 0 times, and we're starting off with Flashman, since I'm going to rank them all depending on how pathetic I thought they were. And I'm surprised I'm putting Flashman at the bottom because Brightman in 4 is a real son of a gun, and this guy also stops time, but he really doesn't deal any damage, and he doesn't really have high HP. You can see towards the middle that I just kind of stop dodging, and I'm just able to defeat him anyway. So even if you don't dodge his attacks, you'll be able to just defeat him easily. Next up in the Why Even Bother Dodging Club, we have Snake Man. Snake Man just runs back and forth the entire time. Occasionally shoots Snake at you, but the snakes make the game run at like 2 FPS, so you have all the time in the world to just be like, I will jump over that, and you know, he can run at you, and hit you, and deal damage to you, and that's fine, because that only deals, like, an okay amount of damage, but then he just runs back to the other complete side of the screen, and you're shooting at him that entire time. So again, like Flashman, you will just win before he even has a chance to win, so both very not good bosses. They're quite easy. With this next boss, dodging as a concept is introduced. Unfortunately, that boss is Top Man, so that means that if you do get hit, it will be a result of your own hubris, like I was a few times. I mean, he does his big wind-up spin, a million years of startup, you can just dodge it, and then his tops, you just gotta slide away, and then you don't get hit, and then you just get to shoot him until he's gone, and then you get the worst weapon in Mega Man. Congratulations. Next up we got Bomb Man. Whoa, you having fun there, buddy? But anyway, yeah, Bomb Man, as you can see, I enter the room with like 1/4 of my HP, and it still doesn't even matter because he throws his bombs in the big dumb arc, and then you notice that with your eyes, and you're like, I will dodge these big dumb arc bombs. And then you shoot him and you win today, and I'm gonna be honest, folks, I don't like Bomb Man. His color palette is weird. I think, in general, his design is weird. Like, if you take Bomb Man and you place him next to all the other Robot Masters, his design just doesn't really make sense to me. Are there any other Bomb Man haters out there, or is it just me? Next up we got Airman, who has the same problem as the last 2, where he just throws his big slow projectile, and then you have all the time in the world to just be like, well, I guess I'll jump over that. And I'll remind the audience that there's an entire song with millions of views dedicated to how a player couldn't beat this guy, and as I was replaying the game for this challenge, I just had to wonder, why? I actually like Magnet Man's design quite a bit. He's one of my favorite Robot Masters. However, his boss fight is not very challenging. He has a move where he just drags you toward him, but all you have to do to not get hit is just slide in the opposite direction, and then his magnet missiles are easily beaten by just sliding away, and he doesn't have very much HP. He can hit you a couple times. It can be, you know, you can wind up in situations where, whoa, I'm trapped in the corner by the magnet missiles, ooh. But as long as you don't keep making that mistake, you will just outdamage him. But I like him, he's cool. Metal Man almost did beat me, but I got by the skin of my teeth. The thing is, he just never moved. He just stood in place the entire time and just threw metal blades at me, and I was able to jump over enough of them to the point where I could win. It's really weird. I don't think he usually does this. Like, you usually have to interact with the treadmill gimmick more, but I guess for this instance of me recording this, I guess he just wanted to die, so glad I could do that for him. I will admit, surprisingly, out of all the losers in this zero death category, Bubble Man was the trickiest. He can throw 1 to 3 bubbles that you then have to navigate around while he's jumping around and shooting projectiles at you, so it's very easy to get hit by him. The thing is, his projectiles do like no damage, so I kind of got cocky, you know, didn't try dodging that much, and I got hit a lot of times, and that actually resulted in a very, very treacherous scenario where I defeated him frame perfectly. You can literally see the death explosions around Mega Man as the victory, you know, animation is playing, so that was neat. But yeah, surprisingly, I was expecting Bubble Man to be one of the most pathetic, but he actually topped the 0 KOs category. But now that we're done with the losers, let's move on to the Robot Masters that actually managed to defeat our little blue bomber. The first Robot Master we have clocking in at 1 KO is Fireman, and I feel like he's a curious case because I feel like I would have won with 0 deaths if I just came in at full HP, because essentially what he does is he just spams his projectile endlessly, and that eventually got to me because it's too hard to dodge, there's just so many of them. But then in my second attempt, I went in at full HP, and I still tried to dodge someone. I tried to jump over them, as you can see, but I got hit. But then while I was in the iframes, I was just able to shoot him and out-damage him, and eventually just defeat him. So I feel like this would have gone in the why do you even need to dodge category of 0 death Robot Masters we had if we, you know, I came in at full health. But you know what, it is what it is, so good job, Fireman. You got me. Next up, also at 1 KO, we have Sparkman, and Sparkman is actually less tricky than I expected, and then more tricky in some ways. His room is oddly shaped, right? So you're like, ooh, he's gonna have some crazy mobility, but no, he kind of just jumps around in a linear pattern, but that terrain, you know, the elevated and, you know, lowered terrain can change where he shoots his projectiles from, so in some instances you may need to slide under them or jump over them. So he did get me once because I was still adjusting to that, and it's the big one you gotta look out for. The one where he fires 8, it kind of slows down the screen so you have more time to react. But overall, it's decently, you know, it's pretty easy, but, you know, it can clip you once while you're still adjusting to how to avoid the big projectile. Next up, we've got the one, the only As I said earlier, Cutman is my favorite for a lot of reasons. I love the stupid, like, vampire, I don't know what accent you call that, vampire accent voice he has in the show. I like his design, and I think he's a very good ideal first boss in the series, because he is the pseudo first boss, even though you can choose your boss order in this game. Like, he's the one your cursor starts on, and that's the first time in the Mega Man series, so he's the first Mega Man boss. And his boss fight is very cool. You've probably noticed that in a lot of these clips I've just stayed to the left because there's no real reason to move. But Cutman will jump around you and he'll throw his projectile at you, and you have to dodge it in interesting ways because it eventually returns to him, and the angle it returns at changes, you know, based on if he's jumping or not, and then there's elevated terrain in the room, so it can change based on that. So, like, if you try to jump to dodge it, but he's jumping, it'll return to him while he's jumping, so you have to dodge it that way. So he did get me once. I think it's very good, ideal first fight in the series, you know, because he also gets knocked back. He's one of the 2 Robot Masters where he gets knocked back if you shoot him. So that kind of creates a dynamic where you can control the spacing a little bit. Very cool boss, I like him a lot. Decently challenging, but not too hard. Very good first boss for the entire Mega Man series. Now that we're done with the 1 Death Brigade, I can say that Gutsman actually killed me twice. His boss fight requires a lot of strict timing because he'll stomp the ground and that stuns you, and then if you get stunned, he'll pick up a boulder and throw it at you, and that deals a lot of damage. So, like, you have to perfectly time your jump so you land when the earthquake is over, and that can be tricky. So he got me twice with that, but after 2 times, you know, that's enough to be like, okay, I get the timing now. So after that, you can just safely sort of shoot him when he jumps. It does get problematic if he jumps onto the upper boulders, because then he's in your personal space, right? So then at that range, it becomes kind of hard to dodge the boulder because he just throws them down at you, and it's like, okay, well, I guess I'll get hit then. But as long as he stays away from your personal space, it's kind of random, it's fine. And you just gotta get the timing down for this one, really. It's just a simple timing test. Next up, starting the 3 death category, is Quickman, whose stage is the home of good game design. Splendid. Surprisingly though, Quickman himself wasn't that bad. Yeah, he killed me 3 times, but he has very low HP, so even though he's moving around, he's gonna dodge all of your shots. Once you hit him a few times, he will just go down. And his projectile is interesting because it's a boomerang. It's like Cutman's where it returns to, except there's 3 of them, so we're getting a few layers deeper than Cutman here. But the fight has a lot of downtime where he's just running around, where he just lets you shoot at him, and sometimes I've noticed he just humps the wall, or like one of the corners, for extended periods of time. And I don't know why he does that. I don't know how that serves in his function of destroying Mega Man, and that is his function, because in Mega Man 2, all of the robots were built by Dr. Wily to do just that, rather than being repurposed helpful robots. So Dr. Wily, I don't know why you programmed a wall humping into this guy, but you might want to make some improvements there. Next up we got Heatman, and I'm gonna be honest, the only reason I died to him 3 times was user error, because he has this attack where he charges at you, and he does it every time you shoot him, so he just gets stuck in an endless loop. But the time he does it changes every time. It could be fast, it could be a delay. So for the first couple times I didn't realize this, I thought I was just mistiming, so I got hit, but then I was like, oh, okay. Because I noticed one time he waited a really long time, so that's when I caught on. So then I would just run away as far as I could while he was charging, and then I was able to defeat it pretty easily. He doesn't really do his attack where he actually shoots the fire at you unless you wait too long after he does his melee attack, but yeah, pretty easy if you just wait for the delay and just run away. It's just that it was my fault for not noticing that sooner. However, I would strongly advise against getting hit by his attack where he kills you instantly and sends you to a strange hell dimension where nothing makes sense, and it surprisingly resembles Wily Castle 1. Don't know why he has an attack that does that. I don't really think it fits the Heat theme, but oh well. Woodman actually got me 3 times, not by me being a dummy like with Heatman. He's actually pretty tricky. He has a lot of HP, as you can tell. He's a pretty big guy, and he slowly jumps over to you, right? And he's pretty tall, so it's pretty hard to jump over him or get under him without getting hit. And his leaf shield is actually, like, pretty hard to dodge, right? You need to time the jump just right to get over it compared to other projectiles that other bosses have had where it's not that bad. And then combine that with the fact that the leaves fall, so like, okay, I'm trying to get over Woodman so he doesn't come over here and touch me and damage me while the leaves are falling. Oh no. The falling leaves aren't that bad. As long as you just hug the corner on the left side and then jump up, it won't hit you. And then if you get over to the right side, the leaves just won't hit you in general because you're too far away. But actually plotting that all out and executing it without Woodman beating you up is actually a pretty tricky thing to do. It's a pretty medium difficulty boss, 3 tries, but I'd say pretty good challenge. And now, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for the 3 deaths, and then the 2 deaths if you include Gutsman. Let's move on to the bosses that actually gave me a very tricky time. Iceman actually got me 5 times, and the thing about Iceman, the first thing is that he 3-shots you, right? The second thing is, his attacks, like, you have to jump between very, very narrow gaps. So he 3-shots you, and then you have to make tricky jumps all the time. He only has 2 attack patterns, one where, like, the lowest attack is first, and one where the highest one is first, but still. And then the third thing is that I think the hitboxes on his attacks are a little bit jank. Like, one time I'd just be like, okay, the medium one is passing over my head, now I gotta jump over the lowest one, and then, like, 1 pixel on the very, like, end of the middle one that I thought I just dodged would get me. So I feel like this one got me 5 times because I was adjusting to, like, the weird, slow-moving hitboxes he has. But once you master those jumps, he kind of goes down easy. He does have a lot of HP, so you will have to make the same tricky jumps over and over and over and over again. But once you get it down, it is a little bit easy. I still got hit a couple times on the attempt where I won, but Iceman, surprisingly, the little guy in the little polka coat, is more menacing than, like, more than half the guys on this list. Isn't that... That's a very big surprise, actually. I was not expecting that. Next up, also clocking in at 5 deaths, is Gemini Man. And Gemini Man is a very weird boss for a lot of reasons. For one, there's 2 of them at the start anyway. Second, he reacts to what you do. Like, he won't shoot at you unless you shoot at him. So you have to master, like, okay, what's the best time to shoot so, like, his clone doesn't shoot me, so, like, the main one doesn't shoot me, and then, like, you gotta also time that so you can jump over the one that's running at you, because, like, if you mistime the shot and then he shoots at you, then you can land on the bullet that he shot because you shot at him, and then also get hit by the clone. There's a lot of factors, so you gotta get the timing down really good on that, on actually fighting the clone with, like, the first phase. And I say first phase because Gemini Man is the only boss on this list with 2 phases, right? After you deal half damage, he just completely removes the clone, and then it's just you versus him, and then he's still a reactive boss, reacting to what you do, because he will jump every time you shoot at him, but then he also shoots the Gemini laser, which bounces all around, so it's like, okay, I gotta time this shot so I can slide under him, and then I gotta jump and shoot him, but then, oh no, the Gemini laser is coming. It's a very multi-factored fight. There's a lot to consider. And, like, I have a new appreciation for Gemini Man after this. It's like that thing I said at the beginning where, like, oh, everyone just skips the fight, so who cares? I didn't give rat's butt about Gemini Man before this, but now I think he's actually a really cool fight. I like this actually quite a bit.
I'm hot, man.
Next up at 7 deaths, we have Man, who's ironically enough pretty hot. His first attack isn't really anything special. He just jumps up and dives down, so you can just dodge that. There's a lot of telegraphed time there where you can just easily dodge it. What I don't like about it, though, is how it just pauses the whole game no matter what. Like with Gutsman, you only got stunned if you were on the ground during the earthquake, but with this guy, he just pauses it no matter what, and I think that really kind of ruins the pace of the fight. And then his next attack, the one that'll actually give you trouble, is where he shoots his knuckles at you, and these come back, so you need to, and the thing is, he's aiming them wherever you are, so if he fires the first one and you're on the ground, he fires them straight towards you, and then he can fire them up if you're jumping, but then they also return, so that creates tricky return angles. So what you need to do is you need to time your jumps correctly, so you can, like, short hop over the first one, but then be in the air so he shoots the second one up, and then you also need to short hop over them when they come back around again. So you just need to kind of get that pattern down where you precisely time your jumps right, because if you don't, they will hit you. Like, it's a very narrow gap you need to accomplish, and he has a lot of HP. Like, I think in the clip where I won, where you're seeing now, I only won with like 1 or 2 HP left. So you can't just out-damage him like you can with the weaker Robot Masters, because he has so much HP. You need to get at least semi-consistent with dodging his knuckles. And that would be fun, but I really think his dive attack, where he just ruins the pace of the fight, I mean, I don't like that. I don't really like the man fight that much, to be frank with you. I actually walked away from this experiment finding what's, in my opinion, the ideal Mega Man boss fight, and that is, clocking in at 7 deaths, Needle Man. Needle Man actually has a melee attack that doesn't pause the whole screen. He's jumping around the whole screen, so it's very dynamic. You gotta dodge. You cannot out-damage him. You need to dodge. And it's fair. His melee attack, which is telegraphed, does a lot of damage, but his needles not so much, but you still can't out-damage him, so you need to dodge. It's fun to dodge his needle attacks. I eventually found a pattern where I got him to fire his first two at the ground, then I would, needle the thread, where I would go between, the second and the third shot, because he would fire them up because I was jumping, and it's a very fun fight. He's jumping around, you're jumping around, he's dodging, you're dodging. It's very fair. Again, 7 deaths, but it's not like Hard Man, where it's like, oh, this is rather dull. It's like you're actually fighting, you're actually playing the game. It's a very, very fun boss fight. If you like Mega Man and you always use the Gemini laser to fight Needle Man, I would highly recommend just going at him Buster only, just so you can experience the fun of it. He's like, no set pattern. It's not like Heat Man, where it's like, oh, you just shoot him, and then he does the same thing over and over and over again. He's always making counter moves. You're always making counter moves. After this, I came away loving Needle Man. Great fight. But now, ladies and gentlemen, that all the easy, medium, and high bosses have been dealt with, it's time to get into the top 3 most difficult Robot Masters in Mega Man 1 through 3. Coming in at number 3 at 10 deaths is Crash Man, and the fight is very difficult if you don't know what to do. He fires bombs whenever you shoot at him, and it's not like, oh, they explode and then they're gone. No, they stick around for a long time. So you're running away from Crash Man, but then the explosion is still going off, so you get hit. So I tried staying in the corner. That didn't work. I tried a wide variety of strategies. But ladies and gentlemen, would you believe me if I said this fight was actually very simple? All you have to do is jump, shoot, he'll meet you in the air, throw the bomb, you'll go over the bomb, and then you just do that again and again and again and again, and then he dies eventually, and then you don't get hit, because as you can see, I took no damage during this fight. So it took me 10 times to figure out what I'm actually supposed to do. But once you do know what to do, it's very easy. Like, it's not like, oh, Needle Man, where he does a different thing every time, so you gotta be actively dodging. It's once you figure out Crash Man, he's pretty basic. So I kind of misled you by saying, oh, the top 3 most difficult bosses in Mega Man, because Crash Man, once you know how to beat him, whatever, but this is just my own personal experience. But the thing is, the next 2, I wasn't kind of lying. I wasn't being tongue-in-cheek about. The next 2 Robot Masters I'm going to discuss are pure evil. So strap yourselves in, ladies and gentlemen. It gets bad. If you thought, oh, 10 deaths with Crash Man, that's pretty extreme. No. Just wait. Just wait to see what's coming up right now. Let me tell you something about Elec Man, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, when I was doing my Mega Man 1 recording, I defeated all 5 of the other Robot Masters: Cut Man, Guts Man, Bomb Man, Ice Man, Fire Man. That took me 30 minutes in total. Do you know how long my total recording for Mega Man 1 was? I'll tell you, it was 1 hour and 30 minutes total. So you can do the math yourself on that one. And here's another thing about Elec Man. Like Iceman, he 3-shots you. Unlike Iceman, however, he will get up in your face and use his frame 1 giant, like 1/4 of the screen Elec beam that has an inconsistent hitbox, like, oh, he's far away, and he uses it. Too bad you got hit by the animation where the wave, or whatever you call it, was actually going up. So you got hit, actually. And it's very inconsistent. Oh, he jumped over you and you used it. Like 90% of the time you dodge that. However, like 10% of the time you don't. And oh, that's 1/3 of your health. Whoops. I can't keep going with the whoops. So eventually I was like, okay, his Elec beam does 1/3 of my health. Okay, so that's fine. I'll just stay close to him because touching him does less damage. So then I found out he actually jumps over you if you get close to him. So it's like, okay, just jump over me, bro. Here's the thing. Sometimes when he's jumping over you, he can just decide to hit you with the Falcon Knee. I haven't even talked about the amount of times this guy killed me, by the way. Okay, so we've had reasonable jumps so far. 0 deaths to 1 death to 2 to 3 to 5 to 7 to then 10 with Crash Man. That's reasonable. That's okay. That's fine. Elec Man, in all his gracious power and ability, killed me 24 times. And because Mega Man 1 had some interesting design choices, every time I died, I had to climb up this stupid ladder.
What a thrill.
Here's the thing though, I did eventually get the spacing with his jumps consistent. I was able to consistently, okay, he's jumping, I will now go under him, okay, he's on the platform, I will shoot safely so the Elec beam hopefully doesn't hit me, because again, it's like a 1 in 10 where it just does anyway, even if you're below it. So, okay, I eventually, after 24 attempts, was like, okay, Elec Man, you're done. I've learned your attacks, as tricky and as hard as they may be. I have mastered your fight, and now I shall get the Elec beam or whatever. This next boss, ladies and gentlemen, is not so merciful. So, what makes Shadow Man so strong? Well, I'll tell you one thing, he has a slide that has no startup animation, that goes full screen, that does 1/4 of your health. You cannot react to it. Again, no startup animation, it just go, if you're close to him and he decides, yep, I'm sliding, say goodbye to 1/4 of your HP. Okay, then just stay away from him, okay? He must do it after a certain amount of jumps so you can plan ahead. No, he can do it after 2 jumps, he can do it after like 4 jumps. You never know when he's gonna pull it out, so it's like, okay, if you can react when he's far away from you, right, just get far away from him, just go under him. Here's the thing, his high jumps and his low jumps are random. So if he does a low jump and you try to slide under him, you got clipped, sorry. So that's random, but he has a second attack, ladies and gentlemen, the Shadow Blade that he throws at you, and it's very easy to dodge. Here's the thing, why does his slow, easy to dodge projectile do less damage than the unreactable slide? This is like the worst designed move ever in a video game. And let's say you do react to it. Let's say you see him start sliding and he's coming at you at light speed. Okay, then I will jump over him. Oops, too bad. He has no end lag for when he does the slide. So as soon as he's gotten to your X coordinate, he will jump and then clip you. And ladies and gentlemen, this is not a different game where you're playing as the ninja character and he has low HP. You know, this is not Guilty Gear Strive. We're not playing as Chip Zanoff. He has like among the highest HPs in the game. So you cannot out damage him. And he kills you in 4 hits with an unreactable move. It is pure insanity. It is the worst designed boss I have ever seen in a Mega Man game, actually. And it's like, okay, so you've got this game where people are shooting magnets at you. A big, strong guy is throwing his entire body at you. He's throwing his knuckles at you. Magnets hurt you. Robot Master, Mega Man, the magnet missiles, robots, they don't do as much damage as this godforsaken slide, or if they're easier to dodge, but no, it's just... And again, it's random. You can't predict this. Like, you'll probably see sometimes where I jump into the Shadow Blades, and it's like, oh, 5 points. Why'd you do that? That's dumb. It's because I was preempting in case you did the slide, because that's the only way you can dodge it if it's up close, if it's a preempt. But if you're wrong, and you will be wrong, because again, it's entirely RNG, you just get clipped by the Shadow Blade, and then whoops, GG. It's... oh my god. There's no skill involved in this. It's like, oh, with a Needle Man, I will master the skill of dodging needles. Oh, Elec Man, I will master the skill of going under your jump arc. No, there's literally nothing you can do about Shadow Man. Nothing. There's nothing you can do about this. But here's the thing, folks. Here's the thing. We're in the year 20XX. We have technology. Ladies and gents, I said this would be a Robot Master Weapon free challenge. I didn't say it would be a bullshit free challenge. So here's the thing, if you hold up on your controller in Mega Man 3, on the second controller, I mean the Player 2 one, it will pause all sprite animation. So, which this is what you're watching right now. That's why he's getting stuck in animation. So I thought, okay, maybe if I trap him in a scenario where he gets stuck in the slide, then I can just shoot him infinitely and then destroy him. Here's the problem, folks. Even though this pauses everything, even though Mega Man, it stops his shooting, it stops his Shadow Blade animation, it stops everything, his slide is still immune to this effect. So, literally, Shadow Man is stronger than the game itself. I mean, this should have been obvious. Just look at the character select screen. It's literally glitching and corrupting around his area. This is foreshadowing to the player to the fact that Shadow Man is stronger than the game itself. There is truly no hope. You are beyond salvation. There is a second thing you can do with the second controller where if you hold right, Mega Man will jump higher and much quicker, which would allow you to dodge the slide. However, the thing is, I don't have a second person with me, and it's not like a pause glitch like the last one was, where he literally just stops in place, so I would still have to dodge everything with only one hand, which would be impossible. But wait a minute, Mega Man never fights alone. doesn't Mega Man have a sister? What if I were to put Roll and some other crap on top of my NES controller? Would that be enough to... Well, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like the power of sibling love will allow us to persevere. Now you may be like, oh, 5 points, this is cheesy, oh, 5 points, this isn't how you were supposed to do this is corrupting the challenge. But Crapcom is too lazy to put Roll in any of the video games in any capacity where she could actually help her brother, so go play Mega Man Rock and Roll. This is now a shill channel for Mega Man Rock and Roll, go play that. So I am simply allowing Roll to do this in an official capacity, because after all, what are siblings for? Siblings are supposed to help you. For example, setting up dates, and you can't set up dates for your brother if Shadow Man is still alive. So let's just get straight to that. Let's just go. Alright, Epic Roll Gaming. Oh, I'm facing the wrong way. Almost got me with that slide there. Anyway, yeah, fuck Shadow Man. And there you have it, folks. All of the Robot Masters from the first 3 Mega Man games defeated. Buster only. And oh my god, you probably thought for the first 20 minutes of the video I was clickbaiting you, like, oh, Mega Man Buster only is nightmarishly difficult or whatever I end up titling this. Okay, had a pretty easy time for the first 20 minutes. Shadow Man, he's the reason for this. Okay, so don't be like, oh, you clickbaited me, this was easy actually. But actually, I am glad I did it because... it gave me a lot of appreciation for Robot Masters I didn't really care about before, like getting to actually experience the fights of Gemini Man, Needle Man. I thought that was really fun, actually, but unfortunately, like, one poor game design choice ended up probably taking more than any other Robot Master besides Elec Man combined. That slide, man. That slide. But yeah, overall, I greatly appreciate the first 3 Robot Masters. I mean, the Robot Masters from the first 3 games more now. Really fun fights for the most part. And again, new respect for Bubble Man. That was crazy. Bubble Man? Like, he ended up being the winner of the losers. That was crazy. But anyway, subscribe if you like that. I'm probably going to start streaming Mega Man and Bass soon, because I want to play that one next, and I haven't played it yet. So subscribe if you want to see me stream that or something, or if you like good videos in general. I also cover fighting games and Fire Emblem. Like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. I love Mega Man a lot, and thanks to my patrons who like paying me for making videos like this, apparently. So thank you to Julia and Ginger. But most importantly, remember to have a nice day, and play Mega Man Rock and Roll. You will start coughing in 10 days if you don't. Alrighty, bye-bye.